Hello, all you amazing and wonderful people. Welcome back to the channel, IStandAlone Gaming, and today we're going to be playing some more Satisfactory. So with that being said, in the last episode, we were exploring blueprints, and we made a couple, and one of them was a road. As you can see, I've replaced a lot of our old busted road with the new hotness road. So I think it looks pretty good, especially in the longer corridors like over there. If we go ahead and land real quick, I'll show you what I mean. And if we scroll all the way, you can see just how long I made the road. So once you start working with blueprints, it's a lot easier to manage. And all you have to do in the sense that we were working with is delete 4 sections of road here, like so. Go into your blueprints, select your design, and place it. So let's go ahead right there. And as you can see, it places the entire roadway down. Now this is a corner section, so I will have to delete this area, at least for the corner section, and fix the corner up so it looks better. But it is pretty simple to place the rest. So I could basically just go ahead and clear this entire road, place some more down. I do have some, junctions here for lights and such, so that's definitely nice. But with that being said, all we have to do now is delete this old road. We can delete all of it, and basically just do as much as we can. Delete that, and we can place the new road. And all we have to do is select our blueprint as before, make sure everything lines up. The easiest part is to look at the curbs that we have. Sometimes if you look at the line, it is off center just a little bit, and if you're off by one, you have to go ahead and delete the entire blueprint before you can place another one. So it can be a pain if you misplace the blueprint, but if you get it right, as you can see, it makes it pretty easy to do. So we can go ahead and do this entire road. All right, so even though it was only a couple seconds for you, it was only a couple minutes for me. So with blueprints, it definitely makes things a lot quicker. I don't have to zoop all the stuff. Not only that, but if you go ahead and look at the right-hand side, you can see that you can actually put blueprints on your to-do list or your checklist, and you can tell how many materials you need if you want to make a lot of something. So I went ahead and put 40, got materials for 40 of them, but we only use 19 here. So I mean, plenty of materials that we could have used, but you'll know which materials you need, and so on and so forth, and it's definitely much less of a headache. So now all I have to do is go ahead and connect all the lights, and everything will be lit up just like this. So I'm going to go ahead and connect all the lights, and I'll see you guys in a second. All right, so now the entire road is lit up, and we have everything set to where we need it to be. So but one cool little thing that I added in front of the entire lighting setup I have on this road is a switch. So cool thing is we can go ahead and turn off or on the lights as needed, turn it into night mode, change colors if we really want to. So if we can come down here, say we want blue, we can go ahead and change that to blue. I think that's pretty cool. And it changes everything along the road. So if we go and keep looking, it'll go all the way over here, go all the way over there. If we go ahead and hit P real quick, it'll go all the way over there. Probably hasn't loaded right now, but as you can see, we got lights all the way down. So I think that's pretty cool, and we're definitely going to add on to that little string, but it's cool that I can control it from just this one location. So at some point I may add a little like hideaway building, I guess you could say, for the light control panel. But for now, it's just sitting here. So we'll change it back to white, turn back night mode, and lights are off. So a few other things I flirted with offline or for the video is trains. So we have a nice little port here for trains. We have our original materials from our uh, oil production. We got fuel, plastic, and rubber, and those are still coming from over there. They're on a conveyor underneath the train section so far. I may change it and put them in the train, but for now, they're coming through on this little pathway here. So, got those. All my copper stuff is coming out through the same way. And then everything from the other base, or our original base with all the iron, is actually coming through on the train here. So if we go ahead and look, we can see some of the materials here. We have modular frames, we have iron plates, reinforced iron plates, iron rods, rotors, and screws, all coming in from the train here, as you can see. All the excess that doesn't fill my storage or is used in production ends up getting sent over to Awesome Sinks. Very nice to keep your production running at max capacity. And I have mostly everything going through that way. So other than I think the copper, everything is going into a resource sink because the plastic, rubber, and fuel is actually being resource synced over at the fuel production over there. So here we have Caterium coming in. We have one going to my storage and another 780 line going into production. If it goes into production, it is used. If it is not used in production, it goes over to the resource sink. Same thing here. We have this goes straight into my storage, so it really doesn't go anywhere. So all of this should actually be going to the Awesome Sink. Not sure why it's not. Because it's not configured. There we go. So with that being said, we have all these things being sent to the Awesome Sink. We have 20 coupons available. We have 96 on us. Plenty of coupons. We have all the unlocked parts. So really, we could just use them to buy the stuff for the milestone, which is what I'm thinking about doing. So if I do that, I'll probably do it later in this video. But I want to keep exploring our train. So I think one thing about the train that I want to change is instead of having this like Christmas tree of railways here, leading up to the tracks, I think I want to have a station up at track level, like up here, and then I can just go ahead and have everything transferred down with conveyors or lifts. Undecided yet because it's a lot of work to go ahead and delete all this and put everything up here and put conveyors and stuff. Maybe I'll leave it and just learn my lesson for my next base, but we definitely messed with some trains. We got some path and block signals, and we have 2 trains on 1 loop so far, so it's working out. And the only issue I had is when the tracks were too close. So if you have tracks too close, you can actually cause a derailment by accident in between the 2 trains. So had that happen. So what I had to do to build the train was we had an conveyor railway kind of. It was in my earlier episodes where I made like a conveyor shaft where there was like 12 conveyors, all delivering materials to this base. I ended up deleting all of that from there all the way over to here, and then I put in the foundations, and then I put tracks on top, and it was a long, tedious process that I don't think you guys want to see, so I ended up just doing it on my own. But in the future, once we start doing more train stations and stuff like that, I will definitely be including you guys in those builds. Mainly because I wanted to explore trains. I never had to use them before, and this way I know what I'm talking about before I start trying to tell you guys what to do. So there's that. I ended up upgrading our Caterium. So if we go ahead and look over here real quick, our Caterium setup used to be from smelters, and we lost some production out of that. So we swapped all of the smelters out into refineries. And if you go ahead and look, I'll show you real quick. Here's our smelter, right? So if we place a smelter down, go to Caterium Ignite, it takes 3 Caterium ore for 1 Caterium Ignite. But if we come over to here, it'll take 2 Caterium ore for 1 Caterium Ignite. Not only that, but we're producing 30 per minute here, whereas we're producing 15 per minute here, and that is a great boost to our production. So we got a decent amount going on. I have 2 780 lines here, and the excess gets resource synced. Reason being is because we are producing more than 780 per line, even though we only have 2 lines. So the excess of each line is going to get put into the resource sink. I believe we're crafting like 800 something per line. So there's constantly 100 getting synced. And if we ever need more, that means we can always just, add another line. So only downside about using refineries for Caterium is that you need to get a water source. So luckily we had one pretty close by. We ended up using 8 underclocked, not underclocked, 100% water extractors. And I think we're producing the 120 times 8, about 1,000 something, 1,060. Sounds about right. And we only needed, I think, let's see, we did 60 times, I think it's 14 that we have. So we needed 840, but we're getting like 1,000. So it doesn't hurt to have excess in a situation like this, where you just have water. The only time excess water hurts is when the output is water as well, because if the pipe is full, it has nowhere to dump the water, and then you run into serious production problems. Kind of like the Aluna build we did a few episodes ago. So yeah, we ended up upgrading this. We put a train station up here. I think this little pillarway looks pretty cool, holding up the train station here. Let's go back up top. So we got the train station right here next to the road. I think that looks pretty neat. I like how the train station or the train rails are underneath the road. At some point, we're going to go ahead and put in pillars and stuff like that. I had to delete the pillars to put in the road and the train station here. But we made it work. So this is where I had the issue of the trains running into each other. I have them come down here. And if you look, they become very close right over here. I ended up having to delete this part out of the pillar and running the train a little bit closer to the pillar because they were actually like neck and neck right here, and that's where the accident happened. So as you see, they get pretty close, but they no longer cause an accident. And then this is our old base. This is like the first base we've ever made, and we have all the iron parts over here. And I ended up upgrading this just because we weren't getting excess, since a lot of stuff was getting synced into the awesome sink, we weren't getting excess parts for our storage. So I ended up overclocking some stuff. I upgraded some of the belts, and yeah, everything is getting delivered now to the new, our main base, storage base, whatever you want to call it these days. So definitely a lot going on, but I feel like this puts us in a good position to start using or utilizing trains more, and also making bigger and better factories. And we also have a way to transport items long distance now, because we can pretty much add this train track to any area or roadway. You can also add the road. We have blueprints for the road. I might make a blueprint for the rails. I haven't done it yet, but I'm definitely thinking about it the more I build. But yeah, we could just go ahead and add on to here, say for example, and then add another, station or whatever. And definitely a lot of room for progress. So future-proofing ourselves a little bit. We haven't been very successful doing that in most of our builds, kind of like here where we had to upgrade everything. Luckily, we could go ahead and overclock this if we really need to. But one of the only problems or limitations with this build over here is that even if we use a tier 3 miner, we can only get 780 resources per line because the belts themselves are limited to 780. But if we go ahead and look at the actual miner, I think it could produce, yeah, it could produce a lot more than that. So it could produce 1,200 parts, but unfortunately, the only amount that the belts can carry is 780. So one of those few things where you can only do so much. So it is what it is. We'll overclock it to 780. Let this rock out at 780. These are all should be consuming the 780, and then these should all be consuming the these are all overclocked too. Weird. So yeah, everything's set up pretty good here for the Caterium. We have plenty of Caterium being used. We needed to increase our production for a few reasons, because if we move forward in the progression stage, we're going to go ahead and need Caterium for a lot of things. Circuit boards, AI limiters, all that stuff is used in some of these other high-end productions. So if we go ahead and look over at the cooling system, you can see that we need heat sinks. Heat sinks sometimes require aluminum and rubber. We will need to unlock nitrogen for both the cooling system and the fused modular frame. But if we go ahead and look at turbo motors, we're going to need Caterium for this, I believe, because we need the circuit boards and the quick connects. We're going to need Caterium for computers if we use the computer one. I believe we could use Caterium for strators. We're going to need to make more crystal oscillators because we're already using all of our crystal oscillators for the uranium. We're going to need Caterium here for the AI limiters. And I believe you could use, again, you could use, go ahead and open this in Codex. Yeah, see, we can actually make strators with Caterium as well. So, you're going to need a lot of Caterium. Get a better recipe out of it. So, it's going to be nice to use that. Let's go back to turbo motors real quick and see what else we need Caterium for. Shouldn't be much. So we have all the other materials we need. I think I'm going to go ahead and use the alternate recipe for the turbo motors here. One, we're getting extra per minute. So if you look down here, we're getting 1 extra per minute. Also, I'd rather use radio control units because we don't have a use for it right now instead of the cooling system. So definitely a lot better build down here. Not only that, but we can make electromagnetic control rods out of the AI limiters and stuff like that. And a lot of those resources require Caterium. So one of the reasons I upgraded this entire area, one of the reasons I added the train. The other reason I added the train was just to make sure that I could actually run the train. So, like I said, I never did a train before, so it was kind of new and exciting for me. So now that I have the knowledge, I can share it with you guys. And I will be doing that as soon as I start making more and more stations. So just keep an eye out for that. All right, so we got a bunch of tickets. We're going to go ahead and buy some of the parts that we need. So if we go over to here, we go to equipment. Tickets, equipment? No, parts. Parts. We're going to need... Scroll down. We need turbo motors. We get 50 of those. We only need 100, so buy 2 of those. We need 200 fused modular frames. You get 50 a pop, so we're going to need 4. 2, 3, 4. And we get 100 of these per pop, so we're going to go 4 for this too. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We go ahead and look at our total. 64 tickets. It's about half of what we have currently. But this will allow us to achieve the milestone. So let's go ahead and buy that. We're going to have to drop some of our stuff here. Good thing we have extra. go ahead and grab all these. They only fit in the stack of 50, so that's not fun. So grab all this stuff, finish up our milestone, and if we go ahead and look, this is the last milestone that we have to accomplish. So let's go ahead and launch that up into space, and we get particle enrichment.
Milestone reached.
And
Accelerator enables previously impossible
we did it in pretty good progress, because if we go ahead and look
converting it into plutonium, as well as the generation of exotic matter.
all the way over here, you can almost see it.
To the next phase.
We are starting to get back, or starting to get backed up on the uranium over here, the uranium waste. So we're going to have to start doing something with that. And I believe particle enrichment allows you a way to recycle some of the uranium. So let's go ahead and take a look over here, see how bad we're getting as the truck just decides to do whatever it wants to do. All right, so now that we're over here, it actually doesn't look too bad. We still have this entire section to go as storage. So we definitely future-proof this area as well. But I would like to get a handle on it before our storage becomes full. Because if it becomes full, we're going to start losing power. Start losing power, we're going to have a lot more of a headache. So now that we have particle enrichment, we can go ahead and check out those buildings. Go ahead and do that. So if we go to production, we got the particle accelerator. The materials aren't too difficult, actually, surprisingly. I thought it'd be a little bit more difficult to make. We easily have radio control units, easily have the electromagnetic control rods. We easily have the supercomputers. We have an entire fucking box full of those as we get run over by the truck. So the only things that we literally have to make are the cooling systems, the fused modular frames, and the turbo motors. So we will have to unlock nitrogen in order to get the fused modular frames and the cooling systems. And luckily to have it, we have one that's not super far from our original base, the first iron base that we have. So if we go ahead and scan, take a quick minute. I believe it was over in this area right here. This is our original first base. This is where I believe the nitrogen will be. So it's right in this area. And if you could look, most of them are pure. So the cool thing about the gas, or like the geysers, is that most of them I think are pure when you get them. So we'll have to go ahead and start farming that. We have a few more, but they're pretty far away. So we could always unlock those later in the future, but I feel like we should get this one for now. And we'll be working on that in probably the next episode. A few things that we could go ahead and start making are heat sinks. Heat sinks are needed for the cooling system. If we go look at the cooling system again, you need the heat sinks. And if we can make some heat sinks, go open this in the codex. They only require aluminum and either copper plating or rubber. So we have all of these materials. We just need to actually start crafting or creating those. And we could definitely start doing that. Whether we do it here or at another location, or if we just decide to put everything over in like a buy the nitrogen and just make another base there that crafts, you know, all the turbo motors and stuff like that. Maybe we'll do something like that. So definitely a lot of stuff going on. And then once we start getting nitrogen and those materials, we can actually start making the space elevator parts. So if we go ahead and look in our codex here. If we go to our parts, right, we need the electromagnetic field generator. We need batteries, which we have. We need versatile framework. We have that. And we also have electromagnetic control units. So if we put a manufacturer creating one of these, it'll take us 1,000 hours. No, I'm just kidding. But it'll take us a while because I think we need 4,000 of those. Yes, we do. Open this back up. We also need assembly direct system, supercomputers, and adaptive control units. We actually have those. We could start crafting those. What else do we need? The thermal propulsion rocket. We need turbo motors, so we can't make those yet. We need cooling system, and we need fused modular frame. So we can't make any of these just yet because we're not even making the cooling systems yet. We do have modular engines being made, so we have plenty of those. And we need the nuclear pasta. So if we come all the way down here, we need to make pressure conversion cubes, which sounds like a pain. And we need copper powder. So looks like we need 30 copper to make copper powder. We'll need fused modular frames and radio control units for the pressure conversion cube. We now have plutonium fuel rod unlocked, and we can go ahead and use those. We can use the nuclear waste or uranium waste and non-fissile uranium to make plutonium, which I assume would increase the fuel for nuclear power plants. But we'll need concrete and plutonium pellets in order to make those. Non-fissile uranium looks like a pain. Gonna need nitric acid, sulfuric acid, silica, and uranium waste. So definitely a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of stuff that we still have to accomplish before we can complete the game. So yeah. But with that being said, I believe this is going to be the end of this episode. So if you learned something, or if you just enjoyed listening to me ramble about all the things that I currently accomplished, please leave a like. If you want to see more content of Satisfactory or just stuff that I make in general, please subscribe to my channel. But with that being said, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching, and I really hope to see you in the next video. Take care.